Good evening. Excuse me. Good evening. I'm going to call to order the Smyrna Municipal Planning Commission meeting for October 2nd, 2025. And with that, if you'll stand for prayer and pledge. Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for our town. Be with us tonight as we go about the business of this town. I pray that all our decisions will be pleasing to you, that all our decisions will be made with the utmost consideration and with discernment and wisdom. Father, I pray for our employees of the town. Bless them, keep them safe. I'd ask for an extra hedge of protection around our first responders, our police and fire. Father, take them in your arms and help them get through each shift that they work. Thank you again for all that you do for us, and thank you for all the opportunities that you so abundantly blessed us with in this town. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Matt.
So face the flag and join me in the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first up tonight, we have two public hearings. Our first one will be plan of services for Armenius Development Group, LLC, 101 McNary Lane.
Yeah, this is just the plan of services for the area if the town were to choose to annex this property. The town would be providing all services to this area except for water, which is already provided by Consolidated Utility District and would continue to be provided by Consolidated Utility District. All other services, sewer would have to be extended to the property by the owner. That's not something the town would be doing. And then all other services, streets, police, fire, all those would be provided by the town upon the effective date of annexation. Again, if the town chooses to go forward with the annexation. But that's what this plan of services would be.
Okay, I'll now open the plan of services up for a public hearing. If there's anyone that would like to come forward and speak either for or against this plan of services, do so at this time, and I'll remind everybody that you will have 3 minutes to do this, and if you do decide to speak on the plan of services, we'll need your name, address, and whether or not you live within the town limits.
I would like to speak in opposition. My name is Michael.
Whoa, Michael,
Sorry.
yeah,
Can
I tell you what, yeah, you can do that,
Yes.
and then if you'll come to the podium, and then if you'll recall, name, address, and whether you live in the town limits or not.
In the town limits?
Name, address, and whether or not you live in the town limits.
Okay. My name is Michael Wilson. I live at 230 People Drive. I do not live in the town limits. I do have to say I've learned a lot about local government in the last 24 hours, probably more than my last 59 years. So thank you all very much for what you do and for being here. I also learned a lot about our neighborhood over the last 24 hours. That I know of, only Derek Boswell received notification for this hearing, which he shared with a neighborhood Facebook group late Tuesday evening. And it didn't really start to take off until yesterday morning, but look what we have here. We've also been able to secure over 180 signatures in opposition in those 24 hours. I've submitted a map, and I apologize for not being here earlier, of the area I'm speaking about, and a few notes raising my concerns for the traffic issues we already have facing our neighborhood. My wife and I built in 2019 with our boys still in school, and at the time was a very slow-paced neighborhood with a lot of walking, bike riding, and kids playing. As neighborhoods popped up surrounding 1 Mile and Baker Road, our traffic continually got worse as students from the area started using Peebles as a cut-through to and from Stewart's Creek High School. The speeding is constant, and 4 out of 10 don't even slow down for the stop signs. It also became evident that 840 traffic started using Peebles at a cut-through back and forth to 1 Mile. Since the construction of Amityville Station and signalization at 1 mile in Amityville, this problem has more than doubled. With the future addition of a new high school off Lee Road, that's going to dump even more traffic on Amityville, which will then create a further overflow of traffic through our neighborhood. I contacted the county road superintendent a couple of months ago with my concerns and learned that a lot of the development done in the 1 mile Baker Road area was approved and completed without adequate traffic studies. A traffic corridor study was conducted in '22 for the potential widening of Amityville Road, which the study found necessary under the conditions at that time. Widening did not happen, but commercial and residential growth hasn't slowed down, and now I understand the state of Tennessee has declined the widening of Amityville. This in addition to the mess we grapple with at I-24. A further Safer Streets for All study was conducted, and with the completion of Jefferson Pike, Amityville Road is now priority number 1. Adding additional commercial property in an established residential neighborhood will certainly not make anything or anyone safer, nor will it make traffic any better, only worse. I concede that a lot of these prior decisions were made by past councils and commissions, and urge the current commission and council to stop the bleeding, save our neighborhood, don't add to further traffic issues on Amityville, and suggest declination for the request of annexation. The gentleman that I mentioned earlier, Derek Boswell, his family is living in the house next door
3
to this
minutes.
house.
Michael, all right, your 3 minutes are up. If you have anything else, you can submit it in writing. And just to remind everybody, we're talking about the plan of services at this point. I know that it appears that you've signed up under citizens' comments as well. So you do have that time available.
Oh, I'm sorry, was that not this time?
No, right now, we're having a public service, and I'm going to get Kevin to clarify. I'm sorry, we're having a public hearing on the plan of services, so I'm going to let Kevin clarify what we're having the public, come up and comment about.
Yeah, we're required by state law, anytime the town considers a request for annexation, the planning commission is required to hold a public hearing on the plan of services, which is basically the town's putting in writing our plan for how we would be providing services to the property if we choose to annex it. And so we are required, the planning commission is required to hold this public hearing. The council, if it goes to council and gets to this second reading, the council also holds a public hearing on the plan of services separate from the vote on the annexation as well. So, but anyway, this is just for the plan of services. You are signed up under citizen comments. That would be coming up later, just after these 2 public hearings.
My apologies.
No, you're good.
You
You're good.
would be able to speak again, though, so.
I won't be able to speak again?
No,
No,
you
you
would
will.
be. You would be.
So you want me to do all this again?
Well,
I'm like,
it sounds like you,
Or
it sounds
at
like you
least
may have some
maybe-
things to finish.
Maybe you can finish what you were not able
Yeah.
to get to.
yeah,
That's what I was getting
I
to.
just had one more
Well,
point.
let's go ahead and save that.
Okay.
And you are scheduled, you're the third speaker scheduled under citizens' comments, so we'll let you come back at that time, okay?
Perfect, thank you. My 3 minutes will be 30 seconds.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, is there anyone else here to speak for or against the plan of services for 101 McNary Lane? All right, hearing nobody else,
I'm just confirming, there's several of us on the list that we're supposed
Yes,
to all make.
with the same things or all the same things that Michael did. You may have some other things that you want to bring up, but that's going to be entirely during your 3 minutes, and you're more than welcome to do so at that point. Okay? All right. So let's go to our next item under public hearing is a plan of services for CLQ land, 5198 Lee Road.
Yeah, this is a separate, again, the developer would be required to extend sewer to it as well, at their expense. All other services would be provided by the town, if we do choose to follow through with the annexation. That's all that I've got.
Okay. So now I will go to the public, and I'll open up the public hearing portion for anyone that would like to come forward to comment on the plan of services for CLQ Land Services. Yes, ma'am, if you could give us your name, address, and whether you live in the town limits or not.
5241 Lee Road, Smyrna.
I'm sorry, could you, services for 5198 Lee Road? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing, and I will call the planning commission. Have anything else that you didn't quite get to or want to add after your 3 minutes has expired? You can certainly submit those in writing, and it will get to us. So with that, the first person I have is Tanya Hadley. Is Ms. Hadley here? Good. If you can give us your name, address, and whether or not,
effort that was quickly shot down by the developer that was actually supposed to be here today, that was going to submit one of his plans of services. They have made it obvious, the Catalyst Design Group, they are not interested in compromise, only squeezing every inch of profit from the land. 5 feet of trees behind Saddle Grove, why do we believe they will treat any other neighborhood any differently? This is not sustainable growth. In fact, just Monday, the Daily News Journal reported that Stewart Creek Elementary continues to be at capacity, over capacity, with no plans to build another fit-driven density at the expense of privacy and our quality of life. And as the photos I've shared earlier tonight, many of our homes extend all the way to the tree line and touch our property lines, bulldozed and replaced with saplings. This is not preservation. Replanting is not a solution. It would take decades for these new trees to provide protection that we have today, while ecosystems and wildlife we're currently preserving will be destroyed along with the current drainage. Their track record has said it all to us. They have rejected a reasonable 25-foot mature tree blind buffer, ignored every email, and when I finally got on the phone with them after Mitchell Wensman's guidance, they hung up on me. Feet originally restored, plus the proposed 10-foot easement.
3 minutes.
Okay.
all right. Thank you, and if you have anything else, you can certainly submit that in writing. We appreciate your comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Caitlin Alferman. If you'd come forward, there you are. If you give us your name, address, and whether or not you live within the town limits or not.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me this time to speak, and thank you, Mr. Rigsby, for taking my call yesterday and explaining things to me. My name is Caitlin Alferman. My husband, Ted, and I live just outside city limits at 1198 Peebles. We've been homeowners and residents of Smyrna for 8 years. Ted works for TWRA, managing Percy Priest Lake in Smyrna and other reservoirs of Middle Tennessee. My contribution to the town includes to serve as the volunteer coordinator of Smyrna's Azure Standard Grocery Delivery, which helps provide families of our community with healthy, natural, affordable grocery options. I've also recently been nominated to serve on the board of the Smyrna Baseball League, and I look forward to working with the town to continue Smyrna's wonderful baseball program. When I was made aware of the request of our new neighbors at 101 McNary Lane, the Armaeus Development Group, I immediately reached out to other neighbors to organize. In under 24 hours, we collected 175 signatures on a petition to oppose the annexation and rezoning request. You should have received that petition, but if not, I also brought copies. As we spoke with our neighbors about this issue, no one, not one single person, disagreed that, if granted, this request will be harmful to our neighborhood. So I'm speaking not only for myself, but for the almost 200 others who also oppose this request, many of whom you see here tonight. When I drive home from Nashville or Murfreesboro and take Almaville Road to my neighborhood just a mile away, I pass 7 fast food restaurants, 6 gas stations, 2 alcohol stores, 2 vape shops, and a store selling CBD. I do not pass a pharmacy where I could get medication for my children or a clean store where I could buy fresh produce for my family. This section of town is inundated with these types of businesses, and we do not need any more. Before any of you consider recommending that this request be granted, I encourage you to visit the other establishment owned and operated by the Armaeus Development Group, Grocery Hub, located at 1932 Almaville Road, and just go and judge for yourself the quality of the businesses that they bring to our community. The notion that another similar business could quite literally be in my friend and neighbor's backyard is appalling. Please don't allow this to happen to the good families who live here. Please recommend a rejection of this request to the council. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And did you all receive this?
Yes, we
Thank
did.
you very
We
much.
did.
Michael Wilson. Michael, you want to come up and give us your name and address and your 30 seconds?
No. But pick up where you finish where you start.
I wanted to point out Derek.
Got to get you on the microphone
I
there.
wanted to point out Derek as the owner of the next door to the house in question. And I just
I'm
want to
gonna,
ask
I'm
you.
gonna stop you a little bit so we can stay within what, our regs here. Yeah, let's get your name, address.
I'm sorry.
and
Michael
whether or not-
Wilson, 230 Peoples Drive, and I'm not in the town limits.
All right, now you can go.
Okay, so this is the gentleman and his family that's been in the house next to the property we're talking about for 38 years. And I want you to think about it as you look at him and ask yourself if you would like anybody opening up a commercial business next door to you in a residential neighborhood. This is not a highway, this is not farmland, this is in a neighborhood. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Michael. Thomas Rawls? I think you know name, address, and
Yes.
whether or not you're in the town limits or not.
My name is Thomas Rawls. I live on 226 Wellington Way, and I'm not in the city limits. I would like to apologize to the council. I was not added to the list as a speaker. I did respectfully sign the petition that came through against the annexation on 101 McNary, and my wife will be speaking later, so thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Mr. Rawls. Tammy Rawls?
Hi, Tammy Rawls. I'm at 226 Wellington Way in Smyrna, Tennessee, and we are not within the city limits. The people that have spoken already have voiced a lot of my comments that I had. My husband and I moved into our home in 1993. We moved out of Antioch, Tennessee, and we moved to Smyrna for a quiet neighborhood, a growing neighborhood within limits. And I feel like this request within a neighborhood setting is totally unacceptable. And we chose to be totally opposition. Like I said, we've lived there since '93. And with all the new subdivisions and business growth that we've seen since 1993, there has been no infrastructure development. And I don't know if you've ever driven out between 230 and 430 on Almaville Road. It is backed up all the way to Poplar Wood, both ways, and it's because of all the new growth. So I do ask you to deny this request, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Conrad Vossen. If I mispronounced your last name, I apologize. You didn't butcher it too bad. All right. I'm going to let you straighten me out and give it your address and whether or not you're within the town or not.
Conrad Volshin, 150 McNary Lane, and we're just outside the city limits. Commission members, thank you for this opportunity to speak before you on this matter. 6 years ago, my wife and I moved into Twin Creeks. To this day, we still feel blessed to be there. We're continually reminded of our attention to the rural feeling and sense of community. This is home. We've become attached to the charm of this residential neighborhood. I say again, residential neighborhood. Twin Creeks, however, isn't blessed with sidewalks where children can ride their bikes, dog owners can walk their pets, and young parents can safely push their children in strollers. We are relegated to the edge of the road, grandfathered, so to speak. It has worked well to this point. But recently, there has already been a noticeable increase in vehicular traffic that from Almaville Road to McNary to Milesdale in an effort to avoid the traffic light at 1 mile in Almaville Road. Stop signs are quite often ignored as being just a suggestion. My wife and I have a first-hand experience of a near catastrophic encounter while on a walk when an automobile completely blew through the stop sign at Milesdale and McNary Lane. If you intend to convert Almaville Road into the next Sam Ridley, the increase in vehicular traffic encounters with pedestrians will only increase exponentially as more and more vehicles use this route as a bypass. I submit to you that any benefit to this surrounding area of whatever business proposed by the petitioner for the property at 101 McNary, he could equally be accomplished on land nearby that's already been zoned for commercial use. We will be watching closely over the next month and a half as this matter progresses through the committee and the city council. I assure you that come election time, there are going to be either a whole lot of very angry are very appreciative voters with a long memory. I will knock on every door with this list of names to ensure they remember every way, either way. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Laura Voisin? Better the second time?
What?
Did I do better the second time on your last name?
That's fine. I live at,
I'm trying.
I live at 115 McNary. Against this, very few homes in our neighborhood since we moved there 6 years ago. There have been 9 homes within arm's reach that have been sold, transferred to family members, and sold for, or turned over for profit. Our home values have gone up tremendously. This home on the corner is a very real mystery as to why it wasn't sold a normal way, no realtors involved. All of a sudden, we see the fact that this is going up for auction. That's very, very suspicious, seeing as, again, 9 homes, people came from California, people have stalked our area in order to get homes in this section. And to turn that home commercial, when you could have a family in there taking care of that home in a good school system with a wonderful backyard and a garage, and somebody who could take care of that versus butchering it and turning it into the business, as somebody previously mentioned, it's become very dirty, and there's some questionable activity going in there, and it's just not right. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, Frank Smith.
My name is Frank Smith. I live at 123 McNary Lane, just outside of city limits on the street in question. My wife and I have lived there for 26 years. Speaking tonight in opposition of rezoning this property at 101 from residential to commercial. We don't really have a problem with the property being annexed by Smyrna. The problem comes with development groups coming in and buying it up and poaching it and turning it into commercial property. This 101 McNary isn't solely a road frontage property. It's contained almost wholly within our subdivision. So it's bordered on 3 sides by families, 2 across the street, this gentleman to the side, and then one behind. So I don't see a real reason that Smyrna is so starved for commercial real estate that they need to have poaching of individual homes within a subdivision. Land's being annexed left and right in this town. So I think that individual homes being sold out and poached from well-established subdivisions is just not necessary. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Joshua Boswell.
Good evening. My name is Joshua Derek Boswell. I live at 105 McNary Lane, just outside of town limits. I work for the street department here. I have proudly worked for the street department for almost 5 years now. The house that we currently live in, it's more than just our home. Our generations of our family have lived there. My wife's grandfather bought it in '87 when it was built. He, his family, my wife and I were raising our kids, making memories, forming bonds with neighbors. I'm here tonight to urge against the annexation and rezoning. Let me share why this matters so deeply. Just over a month ago, Armias bought the house. The buyers told my wife that day that they planned to live there, fence it in, bring some goats, eventually move their families. It sounded like they were joining the community as residents, but that's not what's happened. Instead, many nights around 10 o'clock or even later, they brought in workers with trucks and equipment. Twice now my family has witnessed them slaughtering dozens of goats and sheep on their property, which I can only assume is for their grocery hub down the road. This isn't residential living, it's covert commercial activity, and it feels like deception from the very beginning. We've only learned of this rezoning request 48 hours ago, and I was the only one who was notified. only 48 hours, and we've done this in only 48 hours during the middle of a busy work week. We're a tight-knit community. We may not have we may not be in Smyrna town limits, but we have Smyrna addresses. We are the embodiment of what Smyrna promotes as what they want to represent, communities and families looking out for each other. Contrast the situation to James L. Knott, who opened an accounting service in our neighborhood just a few years ago. He did it the right way. He reached out to the community, he sent letters, he asked for our support. Armies has done the opposite. They've misled us and operated under the cover of night, and deception has no place in our community. We support growth. It's why I work here. We support the town. But there are plenty of commercial zones available without encroaching on residential areas like ours. Rezoning here, it risks, people have already mentioned increased traffic, choking the streets. It risks higher crime rates. It risks plummeting property values, driving families away. I would urge you to vote in denial of this rezoning. Please protect our neighborhood, honor our community's voice, and protect the Smyrna that we love. Thank you so much.
Okay, Sarah Bear.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me this time to speak. My name is Sarah Bear. My husband and I live at...
Sarah?
Sarah Bear, 231 Wellington Way, and we are just outside the city limits.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay. I am a homeschooling mom of 6 years who serves in my church's children ministry and teaches at a local homeschool co-op. I live near 101 McNeary, the residential property recently purchased for Emmaus Group, LLC, who is seeking to rezone the property for commercial use. Tonight, I request that you deny the recommendation of the annexation and rezoning request to convert this property to commercial. I want to share why this matters to me so much. Approving this rezoning risks opening the door to businesses that undermine family values and disrupt the safe, family-centered character of our community now and in the future. The well-being of our children is paramount, which makes me seriously question the appropriateness and the necessity of commercial use for this property. My family and I chose this area because of its community of homes, not businesses. Allowing a residential property to be converted into a commercial one may benefit a single owner, but it would have lasting negative effects on the families who live here. Not to mention the additional increased traffic, which further disrupts peace and safety we are trying to preserve. The recently built gas station at the corner of Almaville Road and 1 Mile Lane illustrates how such development increase traffic and create safety hazards. There are already commercial zones in our community where businesses can thrive. We don't need to sacrifice a residential neighborhood to achieve growth. On behalf of my family and neighbors who could not be here this evening, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and with that, that concludes the citizens' comments. So we are on to our next item is approval of corrections of the minutes for the September 4th, 2025 regular meeting. Counselor, are the meeting minutes in order?
They're in order as to form, unless you have any changes you'd like to make.
Are there any changes or recommendations from the commission? If not, I'll enter a motion.
I move to approve the minutes.
I have a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second? Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the September 4th, 2025 meeting minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. We're now on to new business, annexation, zoning, and plan of service request. Kevin, my understanding is the first agenda item, Catalyst Design Group, has withdrawn.
That is correct.
Okay, so no further action at this time.
Correct.
All right, next up under new business, Armias Development Group LLC, 101 McNary Lane, annexation and C2 zoning.
Yeah, this is the request for annexation and C2 zoning at 101 McNary Lane, so just over about 1.27 acres of property approximately. Currently zoned RM under the Rutherford County zoning ordinance. The surrounding zoning on the south side of Almaville Road is all RM as well. Across the street is directly across the street is I-2 zoning. There is C2 zoning as you go to the east there on the north side of Amable Road. The vacant tracks as you go to the east there. The land use plan would support medium-density, single-family residential development in this area. The major thoroughfare plan does designate Amable Road as a minor arterial, and as it is a state highway, any future right-of-way requirements will have to be coordinated with TDOT. The closest sewer connection to this project is within Midway Lane, approximately 1,000 feet away, so the developer would be required to extend a sewer main to serve this parcel. This land, just as additional information, this land does lie entirely within the 100-year floodplain, so any development would require them to meet all FEMA requirements for development within a floodplain. I think we did have, this shows the zoning. The other first map had the city limits. This does show that surrounding zoning there. Obviously, we've heard tonight from several people. We as a staff had heard from several people as well, phone calls, emails, all in opposition to this request. I think that's all I've got at this time.
Kevin, did you ever have any discussion with the owners of this as far as what the intended commercial use was?
I did talk about it a little bit. They did not indicate a specific use. They did want to request a generic zoning like C2. They did not want to come in as a PUD with a specific use and a specific site plan or anything like that. They did want to request a C2 zoning. So I don't know if they have a specific use in mind or if this is speculative in nature and that they would want to. C2 is one of the most open zonings as far as the breadth of uses that are allowed in it. And so that would be my assumption as to why they would want to request C2. But I did not, as far as a specific use, I do not have or knowledge of what they're looking to build there.
Other questions?
For Kevin, we have some comments. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So, no questions for you, but the only comments I'll make is just down the street at Seminary, we had a similar request maybe a year or so ago. Someone wanted to convert a house into C2 use for, I think, a gas station or a market or something. We denied that request and decided it didn't fit there, wasn't appropriate. Generally, as a council and as a planning commission for the 10 years I've been on the council, we've always tried to make sure that residential doesn't generally back up or abut C2. C2 is our most general and can be almost anything. Residential right beside it is just not a good fit. We've always kind of looked at a maximum a C4 use potentially, which is more like a dentist office or a doctor's office or an accounting office potentially. But even in that case, it's still commercial to residential and it may not fit. For those two reasons, I don't see how this could possibly fit this area.
And I'll chime in, Derek, you spoke about the business that's out in the front that faces Almoville Road. To me, that's out in the front facing Almoville. It's not inside the dwelling of the neighborhood or the roadway into the neighborhood. Quick story, in 1987, when Twin Creeks and Wellington were being birthed, is when I began a real estate career. I worked out of that home that is now a business for many times. And some of those homes in there I probably sold to some of your family over the years, but a while back, we also closed the connection from Milesdale over into the next subdivision over to help your neighborhood keep from having traffic buzzing through there to get to the schools. We did that with intention just to make sure that the neighborhood got to keep its feeling of a neighborhood. I agree with Steve. Today, I probably answered or called 9 or 10 people. If you emailed me or if you left me your phone number in your email, you received a call from me today. And if not, I emailed you back. And the whole purpose of that is because I wanted all of you to know my feelings for your subdivision are the same as yours. I think it's one of those subdivisions that I was a part of. And I like the fact that you're in the county. We get that, you're in the county. You could be asked to annex and we bring you some services, but, but we know that may not be what you want. But that said, I agree with Steve. The land use plan obviously fits something that would come in there, but the land use plan already fits what's there, right? So in my opinion, I agree with Steve, and I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I'll let you talk about that. Another concern I had was if that were to reach approval, it's all in the floodplain there. Every bit of it's in the floodplain, and that's going to have to be raised. The elevation of that, whatever came, because I doubt very seriously you as homeowners would see that house remain there over time. It would become something else, probably, most likely. Meaning it's going to have a foundation raised to meet out of flood elevation. For Derek and any neighbor within that region right there, the lights are going to set higher. Everything's going to be more effective on the neighbors of that subdivision. So TDOT would have to have a cut, because if not, they'd be coming into the subdivision to get into the business. That's another whole challenge. TDOT just doesn't grant cuts. You have seen Amelville Road grow, and you have seen that interchange become a nightmare at certain hours of the day. I promise you this council is working on that as much as we can, but I hope everybody understands that is a state road and a federal highway. And our hands get a little tied, and we beg, we get on our knees for help over there. We had a big meeting about this just the other day. So that will come. I can't promise you when. But for this product right here, sitting where it sits, I personally know how I'm going to vote already, so.
Well, let me add this. If you guys can just, there might be time later for that, but first of all, I'm no longer on the council, so I'm not getting the texts or the emails.
You need to come back.
But you send them to two capable people. You know, what we do here is, and what we try to do is fair, and what we try to do is be consistent. It's not whether or not it's going to get us votes or take votes away for us when you're elected, and certainly no one up here is elected. It's something that we all have a passion for, and we want to serve. We had a similar project, and I mentioned consistency, on the other side of town, and it was someone that wanted to bring a C2 to that neighborhood.
Florence Road.
Florence Road.
Yep.
And I voted no on that because it wasn't consistent, and it was not in keeping with the integrity of the neighborhood. So I think that pretty much sums up how I feel tonight about this.
I'd like to make a motion
Okay?
to deny the request based on lack of consistency of surrounding areas.
I'm happy to second that.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to deny. Any further discussion?
For clarification, just so we have an audience, this is a recommendation to the council to
Right.
deny. This is not the final vote, so just want to make sure everyone's clear.
Yeah,
But
great
there's
point.
there's two council members currently sitting up here that feel the same way, I think.
Right,
So
sure, I'm just saying, I just want to make
Yeah,
sure.
we're
that-
making this
yeah.
recommendation,
Right.
and
It
this
still has
vote
to go to council.
will go to council since it's rezoning, okay? So I have a motion and a second to deny this request. Any further discussion? All those in favor of denying this request, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This motion is denied. Okay? We're good. All right, so if you'd like to stay with us, you're more than welcome, but if you would like to leave, we'll give you a couple of moments to,
And by the way, if you guys go out in the lobby and talk, remember, we can hear all that noise, so.
thank you for coming tonight.
Can I ask you when is the next meeting on this?
October 14th.
It will be October 14th.
That'll be a town council
14th.
meeting.
14th.
14, thank you.
Kevin, what we need to do is offer this period of time for advertisement.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
We could run a Simon commercial or something right now.
Okay, next up, under new business, CLQ Land, 5198 Lee Road.
Yes, this is an annexation and R3 zoning request for 21.7 acres on Lee Road. It is adjacent to the town limits on its west side, and then this portion of Lee Road has been annexed into the town as well. And so it would now be, it does border the town limits there as well. The surrounding zoning in town is PRD, which is the Oak Meadows PRD, which is again that property to the west, and then RM in Rutherford County. Land use plan for this area is the 24 Gateway Character Area, which would support a mix of uses and services, both local and regional in scale, such as hospitality, retail, restaurant, and multifamily. This does lie kind of within that, it's on the very edge of that area. The major thoroughfare plan does designate Lee Road as a collector, so right-of-way dedication of 30 feet from the center line it would be required as a part of the development of the property. A sewer main will be required to be extended from the Olive Branch sewer line to this site. An off-site sewer easement would be required to be attained, would be a minimum of about 1,200 feet in length from that current main. CUD does have an existing 6-inch water main along Lee Road. However, this does lie within the town's water area, water service area, so that main is there and needs to be, everyone needs to be cognizant of that main, but they would not be serving this property. They do not currently, or would not be serving that property. So, again, this request is for an R3 zoning. I did talk with the developer. There was, initially they were talking about a different zoning district request, but in talking with them, that's not what they really wanted to build. They really wanted to build a single-family development. So they did request this R3 request, or for zoning purposes. And again, as I stated earlier, during the plan of services, the town would be providing all services if the town chooses to move forward with annexation. So that's all I've got this time.
Kevin, can you refresh everybody's memory and for folks here, when we're looking at an R3, what's the minimum lot size that we're looking at here?
Minimum lot size is 10,000 square feet.
Okay.
That's consistent or better than what's bordering it, correct?
Bordering that is a PRD. Those
Yes.
lots, they may average 10. There's certainly some that are smaller. That's all the development kind of to the west there is all PRD lots, size lots.
Mark, I think that was the first thing that I noticed, that there's a lot of PRD here, and this is requesting an R3, which, does establish a larger minimum lot size. And I think it's a product that we've kind of been looking for.
Actually, it's refreshing a little bit to see an R3 request instead of a PRD request. There's good and bad to that. The R3 does allow larger lots, and but the PRDs give us more control over design and so forth, where R3 really does not.
Right.
They meet the 10,000 lot threshold, and they can build and design the way they want, pretty much. And so, but it's refreshing to see something with a larger lot proposal.
Other questions or comments?
Have we received a site plan on this property?
This is just annexation.
Yeah, we have not at this time, no. And with an R3, you wouldn't have to. Again, I've talked with them, and I kind of, they're looking at it, all single family, 10,000 square foot lots minimum. There is, as you can kind of see from the aerial, there's a fairly large electrical easement that goes through kind of the eastern side of this property that's going to affect the layout certainly. But beyond that, that's all I know about the particular layout.
Kevin, for clarification, I know we have somebody in the audience that spoke a while ago, and the group that was here prior. We've heard it consistently say, I'm the only one that got notified, and We just found out about it. Can you touch on that so that the public understands what we're governed by and what we do?
Yeah, our process, there's certain things we're required to do by state law. And there's certain things that we do over and above state law. What we're required to do on an annexation is different than a rezoning, but since both of these are annexation requests, I'll cover both of them. What we're required by state law to do is, number one, you have to hold a public hearing on the plan of services, which you all did tonight. And then council has to hold a public hearing with at least 21 days' notice in a newspaper of general circulation in the community. That used to be 15 days, is now 21 days. And we are also required, also with at least 21 days before that public hearing at the council, we're required to put up signs that are dictated to the height and size of those signs in state law, with the date, time, and location of the public hearing that the council will be holding. That's, again, those don't go up until 21 days, or at least 21 days prior to that second public hearing, because not often, such as the one you all just recommended, those cost money for us to get those signs printed and those kind of things, and so we will wait on that to be sure that there's actually going to be that public hearing. But in addition, we do send letters to surrounding property owners that 21 days with all that information within 200 feet of the property, and again, with a copy of the plan of services, all those things that we're required to do. In addition to that, we do send letters like these folks did here tonight, even though it's not necessarily required to do that until that 21 days ahead of the public hearing. We do send letters after we know something is going on the agenda for the planning commission. We don't send letters to people because sometimes projects get withdrawn before they ever even get to the agenda, or we're working through the review process. It's not ready to come to this. They're not a complete enough application to even put it on your agenda yet. And so there's really notifying neighbors about a meeting that is not going to happen doesn't make sense. So we always want to make sure that there's actually going to be an item on an agenda before we start sending letters out. Those initial letters, which are, again, over and above what we're required to do to surrounding property owners. Again, for annexation, we heard only one gentleman received it. More should have received them. They were sent. That's all I can say in that regard. Because we notify anybody within 200 feet of the request, whether that's or joining across the street, whatever the situation is. So,
Could you refresh my memory on the tree canopy requirements for a development like this?
The town, for something like this is not a PUD. There wouldn't be anything. We do have buffering requirements now, things of that nature. By a strict ordinance, there would not be anything here.
Is that the 15 or the 25 feet?
That's the 20 feet.
20 feet.
And now, within a PRD now, there requires a 20-foot buffer when they're abutting, adjoining residential developments or vacant land and that sort of thing.
And that's sort of the give and take of having a straight R3 versus a PRD. Usually your lots are going to be smaller in a PRD, but you have more governance over it. With an R3, we don't have that strict guideline. But you do get the larger lots.
I venture to say the developer's been hearing a lot of planning meetings, town council meetings, the subject of PRDs. I hear almost all the time about we have enough inventory on apartments and townhouses and starter homes, and the bigger houses are what we're short on. This is refreshing to see.
And we do hear some of that, but in retrospect of some of that too, you've got people selling their land, trying to pocket what their family left them. They don't want to work the farms anymore, and so it's kind of like it's growing, and we all know it's growing. Growth isn't a bad thing if it's managed. Infrastructure always runs behind the growth typically, but you've got a lot of businesses that do well because of the growth. You have a lot of churches, synagogues, things like that that do well because of the growth. In other words, the flock can be bigger. So there's a lot of pluses to it, and there's a lot of headaches with it. And it just has to be managed correctly, in my opinion.
Other questions or comments?
One other thing, based on what Ken just asked, some of this is zoning driven. And when we talk about the number of apartments that we have in town, I venture to say most of us that sit on planning and council have probably have a lot of that same feeling. But much of what you have seen that is apartments and townhomes was zoned for it. And we cannot change that. We don't have the authority to change what's already zoned. It has to be requested by that landowner. And unfortunately, we had a lot of historical high-density zoning over off Sam Ridley. That's what you're seeing the result of. But we did have a lot of, it was a kind of a PRD. It was a commercial development, and it gave us oversight. At least those people came in and requested it in a fashion that would allow us to have that oversight. They didn't have to. It's like R3 doesn't have to. But those R6s did change, and they came in and asked us to give them ideas on design and things like that, which it kind of became a partnership. They were going to get it either way because of their zoning. But I'm glad now that they at least came in and let us say, you need to make it look better. You need to do this. And that's the benefit of having a PUD versus a straight R6 zone. So.
Well, I don't want to belabor it, but let me add this. When we look at Sam Ridley, where, you hear discussion and maybe sometimes even frustration about apartments, when you look at the frontage there, where you're seeing the restaurants and the retail and some of the other establishments going in, that entire tract from Old Nashville Highway to Motlow was zoned R6.
All for apartments.
So if you're hearing a discussion and, they're saying X number of apartments are going here, well, you could pretty much count on that had not the development of commercial businesses happened on the front side of that, you could have had more, at least the same. So there's a little bit of trade-off and give and take with that. And it has been good to see the commercial development that occupies a lot of the frontage on Sam Ridley, so that when you're seeing something about R6 or apartments or whatever behind it, it's nice to keep in mind it could have all been that way from right off of Sam Ridley all the way to the back of the town limits there. But we're way off topic. So.
It just got brought up.
Yeah, it
I
did.
thought it was worth addressing.
No, I'm with you on that one. All right, so we're discussing CLQ land annexation and R3 zoning. Any other questions or discussions concerning this? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I motion that we approve the request.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have with staff comments, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This motion is approved. We are now on to, we have one more rezoning request
Yes.
under new business, and that is Unico TN LLC, Amable Road, rezoning PID to C2.
Yeah, this is a rezoning request. This is not an annexation. It is already within the town limits. It's about 91/100ths of an acre, just under 1 acre. It's a separate parcel of land. It's currently zoned PID, requested to be rezoned to C2. This was part directly kind of to the west of this is an industrial building there, and it was part of the planned industrial development that was approved when that was built, and this was kind of a leftover piece of that property that was not utilized as part of that development. It was separated off as a separate tract of land, and now they have are requesting it be rezoned to C2. The surrounding zoning, other than that PID is all C2, all other sides of it. The land use plan for this area is the 24 Gateway Character Area. Again, would support a mix of uses and services, local and regional in scale, such as hospitality, retail, restaurant, and multifamily. The major thoroughfare plan does designate Allenville Road as a minor arterial. As it is a state highway, any future right-of-way requirements will have to be coordinated with TDOT. This parcel has no frontage on Allenville Road, but it is accessed through two separate adjoining tracks from Allenville Road. CUD does have an existing 12-inch water main along Allenville Road that currently serves this property and can meet the fire flow requirements for commercial development. Again, this is, I believe, one of the adjoining property owners have purchased this and want to develop it in a retail, commercial type manner. And so that's why they requested this rezoning. And that's all that I have.
Kevin, with this request to go to C2, are there any concerns as far as parking? Has that substantially changed going from an industrial to a commercial?
Certainly it would change. It would be based on the use, whatever if this is rezoned and the site plan comes in, they'll have to meet the parking requirements for whatever use they.
Okay, I just want to make sure it was kind of a heads up there.
Yep.
Okay. Other questions or comments? And when you look at this in totality, it is more C2 than it is industrial or PID for that matter.
It would fit much more in a C2 zone for development purposes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, along with, what we said earlier about consistency and C2 not belonging in certain areas, this is one of those areas where C2 does belong. And, I always have a little bit of pause with C2 because it is so wide open, but in this case, it's almost surrounded by other C2, so it just fits.
Okay. Anything else?
You got an O'Reilly's, a car wash, and a strip mall right there, so it's kind of fitting, for sure.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve with staff comments.
I have a motion to approve with staff comments. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor of approving this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is approved. We are now on to preliminary plats. The first one is Briley Downs, Rocky Fork, Allenville Road, Briley Road, owner, developer, Dreamfinder Homes.
Yeah, this is the preliminary plat for Briley Downs. This is the PRD that was just recently amended to add some additional land and 5 additional lots. And so this is just a revised plat because the layout of the lots changed somewhat from what was originally approval and different things, and again with the additional lots that were added. This is 190 lots, 53.81 acres, off of Rocky Fork Allenville Road as well as Briley Road. Several comments, which many of them are standard comments. And I will point out the major thoroughfare plan does designate Rocky Fork Allenville Road as a minor arterial, and adequate right-of-way is shown being dedicated with this plat. There was a traffic study that was done for this project originally, and those improvements would be required to be made. So that would still be consistent with what was on the original preliminary plat. Fire flow, stream crossing details, I believe have been submitted, my understanding is, from the Public Works as part of the grading plans. We had a few comments that were staff comments that have been addressed. Number 6, regarding the providing dimensions and labeling the easements, that has been done and can be removed. Utilities had a request to make sure, because with some lot lines moving and changing, want to make sure each lot had its own individual sewer service, and that was shown, and that's been done. They had some of our older subreg cross sections were shown to show the correct cross sections, so that's been taken care of. So number 8 can be removed. Number 9 can be removed as well. There were some drainage easements that were not along the rear property lines. They were kind of crossing across some of the middle, some of those lines, and we did ask them to move those. And that has been taken care of on all those lots, and we can take that off. Comment number 10, again, provide some additional labeling and dimensioning of all the proposed easements. Minimum width of the public drainage easements are 20. They did respond that the construction drawings were approved with some 15-foot drainage easements, so they are requesting to keep those. I want to keep that comment just to be sure. Public Works has had a chance to look at that and determine, clarify on that, what they want on those, width of those easements. 2 of the lots, 216 and 217, did not have a sewer main extension to serve those, and that has been shown and been taken care of, so comment 11 can be removed, and then comment 12 is just regarding the plans are being reviewed, have to be reviewed by CUD, so we need to keep 12, so. In the end, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11 can all be removed, and then just keep that last sentence on 10, just to let Public Works take a look at those. But it's, again, it is consistent with the revised PRD that just recently was approved, and so we would recommend approval with those remaining comments.
And as submitted, it meets all of our reg and ordinances that we have in place for PRD?
That were in place when this was approved, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Other questions or comments?
I did a little work on this one sometime back, so I'm going to abstain from the vote. Mitch, if you would make that note.
Anyone else from the commission?
Notice minimum lot size 5850 square feet. How are we doing on green space comparative to lot size? It's got a mixture of lot sizes in here.
There's a mixture of lot sizes. That was reviewed again when we looked at the PRD as far as, there is quite a bit of common areas, swimming pools and things of that nature, in addition to some other walking trails and things of that nature, within the development. So, I mean, they're meeting the requirements that we have with that common area.
Anything else?
Make a motion to approve the staff comments.
I have a motion to approve the staff comments. Steve, do I have a second? Motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor of approving this motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This motion is approved. Next, under preliminary plats, Greystone Phase 3A, Divine Dawn Road, owner, developer, Meritage Homes of Tennessee, Inc.
Yeah, this is a PRD, or not PRD request, a request within the Greystone PRD for Phase 3A, 9.43 acres, 43 lots are proposed. Again, we had several standard comments, really 1 through 8, would all need to remain. Comment number 9 was really just an informational comment. There's Phase 1D that needs to be, has to be installed and built really before they can start on 3A. With 911 approval needs to be submitted for the road names. There's a couple of names there we still need to have the approval on, so we need to keep 10. And then we still need the roadway lighting plan. Comment 12 can be removed. There was a kind of a drainage easement that kind of, because of where the property lines are, crosses at an odd angle, and so we want to make sure we had enough dimensions there to know what those dimensions are on each lot there. So that's can be removed, has been addressed. And comment number 13 was a comment we had made regarding that is the new requirements in our fire code. However, because this project was vested under our old regs, they can continue per state law to develop under the new regs or the old regs for a length of time that they're still within. So we need to remove comment number 13. That'll have to just meet the old regs as far as those cul-de-sac diameters. So we basically we would recommend approval with comments 1 through 11.
You said 1 through 11?
Yes.
Okay. questions for Kevin concerning this?
Kevin, except for the property immediately to the north of this piece, this is they're just about at the end of their land, right? They have land still to the north of this piece, that's it.
They have some, it's kind of to the north, and the property kind of extends to the west from there as well.
So this isn't the farthest west, but it's the,
It's the farthest west right here. If it's further north, you can go further to the west.
Other questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the staff comments.
I have a motion to approve with staff comments. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is approved. Next, we're on to Olive Branch Estates, Section 1, Rocky Fork Road, owner developer, Old South Properties, Inc.
And this is Section 1 of the Olive Branch Estates, which is a project's been approved for quite some time. This is the first phase of the development that's being proposed. It's 35 lots, I believe, on this one. Again, several standard comments here that we would all still need to remain, comments really 1 through 7. I will point out comment 6 regarding the Rocky Fork Road, major thoroughfare plan does designate that road as a principal arterial, and a right-of-way dedication is required as part of this development, and that has been shown, so I do want to point that out. A second connection will be required to be built prior to 100 lots. This is only 35, so it's not an issue right now, but that was an informational comment so that they know that that is coming. A portion of this property does lie within the 100-year floodplain, so they will be required to submit a floodplain development permit and go through all the necessary documentation before they submit that grading plan to Public Works. And per the approved PUD, a connection will need to be provided from there's a future phase of this with townhomes will be provided, is required to be provided from those townhome areas to the primary open space along the creek, and they're proposing to do that. That would be done in a future phase, but that would be required. Again, it was kind of an informational comment that they would have to do that. Comment number 11 regarding a 30-foot wide sewer easement. They had shown this easement, but it wasn't dimensioned correctly. They've actually moved it slightly, but it is shown now as a 30-foot easement, so we can take that comment off. Number 12, ask them to provide the average water quality buffer width as well as the specific distance anywhere it drops below that average. That has been done. It can be removed. Comment can be removed. Ask them to show the correct existing sewer line pipe size on the utility plan sheet. That has been done. Can be removed. Comment can be removed. We asked them to provide a utility master plan for the project. We did receive that, so we can remove that comment. We asked them to label all the critical lots. That is still something that needs to be done. There are several lots that have floodplain on them that would be required to be designated critical lots. Then there's some slope. Some of the slopes on some of the lots, anything above 15% does have to be designated as a critical lot. So that would be the other thing. So they still need to address that. So we need to keep comment 15. We did ask for a revised traffic study for the development. With the PUD approval, did require a revised traffic study to be submitted. They did reflect that they are counting traffic, and that study is underway, but we have not received that yet. So we would want to keep comment number 16. They do still need to submit the roadway lighting plan. Ask them to label all the streams on the existing conditions page. That's been done, so that comment can be removed. Comment number 19 can be removed. The setback details consistent on all sheets, and so that's been taken care of, and it is consistent with the approved PRD. Comments 20 and 21 are from CUD. And so we would want to keep those two just as their comments. So we can remove basically 11, 12, 13, 14, 18, and 19. With those remaining comments, we would recommend approval.
Okay. Questions for Kevin concerning this?
Hey, Kevin, along Rocky Fork Road, there's 3 boxes that are calling out commercial lots.
That is correct.
Has
That's
that
part
already
of,
been approved and resolved for that?
yeah, that was a part of the approved PUD. There are, those are C4 uses. I think one of those lots was approved as a potential gas station location. With the long term, this would be a part of that connection to Williamson County through Rocky Fork, the Enon Springs extension. So, but that was approved. To answer your question directly, yes, it was approved as part of the PUD. This is when this came through a year and a half, 2 years ago now, I think. So that is already in place, yes.
Okay. Other questions?
I just got a comment.
Sure.
Concern. You know, we've heard multiple people talking about the Stewart's Creek schools having capacity issues. We know they're gonna be building another high school out here. At what point do we reach saturation where we've gotta get some of those amenities in place before these start getting built? Infrastructure type things.
By infrastructure, you're talking schools? I think that's a discussion that would, and actually I think is already underway between the mayors and school board and whatnot, but from our function here, what we're going to do is, you know, our focus needs to be, you know, is this something that meets our land use plan, zoning requirements, you know, traffic studies. And again, this one is not new. It's not new inventory. It's something that's been on the books. It's consistent with what's previously been submitted. It meets the rules and regs that were required. And I think that's our focus as the planning commission. And I don't disagree with those other things that, you know, need to be looked at, but I think that's something that leadership in the county is looking at in general.
I figured you'd give such a good explanation. That was more for the general population that's been asking lots of questions.
Okay, anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve with staff comments.
I have a motion to approve with staff comments from Matt. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion. All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion's approved. Last item under preliminary plat, Sims Ridge, Section 2, Tamlin Avenue, owner, developer, Old South Properties, Inc.
Yeah, this is Section 2 of Sims Ridge. This is an existing approved PRD. This is 34 lots, 14.69 acres. Again, this is, eventually would tie into Enon Springs Road. This phase would not. But several standard comments that would remain. Really comments 1 through 8 are really all standard comments. And the comments 9 and 10 are informational comments, but I do want to point them out that there would be a separate site plan required for the townhome lot as well as the amenity areas, site with the amenity buildings and those kind of things. So those would have to come back to you for site plans on those lots. Number 11, a proposed road within this development is proposed, and it is something that was considered certainly at the when this PRD came through, that this would be something that would be coming at some point. Now, this is the plat where it actually is. It is proposed to cross property that is actually owned by the town to connect to Wildwood Drive. So an easement or something will need to be provided, approved by council in order for that roadway connection to be made. That is property that was donated to the town by Rutherford County. And so, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think we could not, it's not something we still have to maintain ownership of it. It couldn't be something that becomes, a part of their development or anything like that. So it would have to be an easement or granted to build that right away there. Number 12, submit road names and 911 approval for those names. They indicated that they had submitted that to us, but we did not receive it yet, so we do still need to keep that one. Number 13, ask them to label the political lots. That has been done, so we can remove that comment. Comment number 14 has a concern about some of the minimum lot widths meeting the PRD. That's been taken care of and can be addressed or removed rather. So 14. Number 15, they do still need to show the size of all the existing and proposed sewer mains. Number 16, the roadway lighting plan still needs to be submitted. Number 17, they're grading a drainage plan, including the necessary public easements. They've indicated all that will be submitted as a part of their construction drawings. They do need to be shown on the preliminary plat as well, so I want to keep those comments there. Comment number 18, we did ask them to move one of the right-of-way lines to get behind the sidewalk there, and so that's been done. It can be removed. We did ask them to show the right-of-way widths, and that's been done. It can be removed. Comment 20, to provide a temporary turnaround at the end of Guardian Road. That's been done, so it can be removed. And then to label the roads. Some of these roads are private, some of these roads are public, so we did ask them to label that as applicable, and so that's been done as well. So we can remove comments 13, 14, 18, 19, 20, and 21. And with those remaining comments, staff would recommend approval.
Consistent with what's been previously submitted,
It is consistent with the approved PRD, yes, sir.
and it meets or met all rules, regs, ordinances at the time.
That's correct.
Other questions?
I'm assuming it's based on the topography, but what makes these lots critical?
Topography is a big portion of that. I think none of those there's no floodplain on those. I think some of them also have some, there were potential sinkholes as well, on one of them maybe, or some other geological kind of reason.
Yeah, it looks like 61 and 62 may have sinkhole, but I just noticed that, the topography lines, it seems like they have significant slope.
Yeah, and that's really it's anything above 15% slope is when it is designated as a critical lot. So I think that's where most of those are.
Got it. Okay. Looks like there's 7 of those.
Correct.
Or 8.
Yeah, 7 or 8.
Yeah, it's 8.
All right, other questions or comments? I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve with staff comments.
A motion to approve with staff comments. Do I have a second? Second. Motion and a second. Further discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This motion is approved. Okay, we're now on to final plats. First one, King Fields, Sharp Springs Road, owner, developer, Landmark Homes, LLC.
Yeah, the next two are related to one another, but they are separate. One is just to create kind of the lot of record and easements, utility easements. This is for the Kingfield development, which is an all single-family development, but it's being developed as an HPR type. So basically, removing comment 4, with those remaining comments, staff would recommend approval.
Questions concerning this for Kevin or staff?
This has been on the books for several years already, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was approved several years ago, and they're of course under development now. They are moving forward with it. Infrastructure at least.
Anything else?
Move to approve the staff
I have
comment.
a motion to approve with staff comments. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion. All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That is not correct. They are showing the utility easements, but they are not labeled as public utility easements, and do need to be labeled public, so we need to keep comment 5. In comment 6, they are showing 16-foot wide driveways. They should be 18 in order to provide the full width requirements that we do for parking spaces outside the house. So they do need to correct those 2 issues. And so, but with those remaining, again, removing comment 4, those remaining.
Approve the staff comments.
A motion to approve with staff comments from Mark. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion. All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is approved. We are now on to site plans. The first,
That is there on Allenville Road. This portion of it is 21 lots. This PRD is a mix of, there's some single-family homes, there's some, what they call villas, the duplex, that will be sold, either side will be sold separately. And then there are some townhomes, and then are some commercial lots along Allenville Road as well. So it's 8 foot wide. There is one, drainage easement across lot 65 that's not labeled as public that should be, so they need to label that. So we want to keep that, or tweak that comment number 6 and keep it. There will be required, this is informational really, but the comment 7, because of the townhomes there, a separate HPR plat will be required for that lot, and before they can, to record, to sell those townhomes.
all those in favor of approving this final plat, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is approved. Next, site plans. Thank you. The first one, additions to Village of Valley Green, Section 4, Phase 2, Union Springs Road and West and Wildwood Drive. Owner, developer, Prosper Holdings Group.
This is a site plan for addition to Village of Valley Green PUD. This was rezoned back in 2004 to a PUD. As part of this PUD, a residential and commercial component were approved. Does require 2,978 square feet of landscaping. Applicant is showing for 7,500, meeting our requirements. Total parking required is 198 spaces. They're showing for 199. And no handicap parking spaces are required due to it being a townhome development. Landscape plan shows a 10-foot wide landscape buffer along the property boundaries abutting the single-family dwellings. Additional vegetation is shown along Union Springs Road West and within the development. A Type C landscape buffer is required along the property boundaries due to the requirement of buffers in the zoning ordinance. And whenever we do have the higher density residential abutting single family, that Type C kicks in as a requirement. Architectural elevations show the dwellings to be finished nearly entirely in fiber cement board siding on the sides and rear of the units. The front of the units are to be finished with a mixture of brick, stone, and fiber cement siding and glass. Standard comments 1 through 7 will all remain at this time. Staff comment 1 is more of an informational comment that the electrical services for the units are to be mounted on a monument for each of the buildings. Comment 2, more of an informational comment. This is an amendment to the previously approved plan, which did have a commercial component to it along with 47 apartments. So It is being modified now to show the entire townhomes instead of a mixture of apartments and commercial. Comment number 3, we asked them to submit road names and E911 approval for those road names and to show those names on the plans. That count will remain at this time. Number 4 is a public works comment. They did submit a hydraulic study that public works will review, but at this time we will leave that comment just so public works can have adequate time to review that, make sure it is sufficient enough. Number 5, we asked them to show street trees along Eden Springs Road West to meet design review. The applicant has noted, and there are some overhead utilities that do make planting street trees in that area difficult, so they have substituted street trees with some ornamental trees. So staff is sufficient, okay with that comment for what they have shown, so we can remove comment number 5. We asked them to submit a landscape plan as their second submittal did not have a landscape plan as part of it, so the first sentence of this comment can be removed, but the second part of this comment will remain in regards to the type C landscape offered to be shown in all the areas, really along the eastern and the northern property lines where it does abut the single-family dwellings. Comment number 7, the auto turn. So our fire department is not satisfied with the auto turn at this time, so comment number 7 will remain. And then number 8 was a utilities comment that has been addressed, so that can be removed. So with that, staff comments 5 and 8 can be removed, and then the first sentence of comment 6 can also be removed. But with that, staff does recommend approval.
Mitch, these towns are oriented in such a way that they're forward-facing. In other words, the front elevations are facing the roadway versus having a rear elevation. Would that be correct, with the exception of 41 through 44?
The units that are along, along Union Springs would be facing Union Springs, yes. And the units, the 13 along Wildwood Drive all do face Wildwood Drive.
So 33 through 40 does face Enon Springs?
That is correct.
Yeah, they have rear entry driveway, correct?
That's correct, yes.
I guess 41 is the only one that really
Does not.
is a side towards Enon Springs.
And they all have 35-foot setbacks.
Correct. They're all, actually, it's technically it's 38 feet from that internal private street, yes.
And this site has been zoned for this use for how long?
Since 2004.
21 years.
2004?
Yeah. And of course, it was, and a plan was submitted with a small commercial building and 47 apartments. And so this would be kind of in lieu of that. And this is still within the PUD that was approved, so.
Do I recall correctly, the apartments did not have garage parking?
No, they were not. They were all
Okay.
surface parking.
Yeah, I think I did not support it originally because of that.
Did they just conclude commercial didn't work?
I would have to defer to them. That would be my assumption that.
I think from a discussion we had during the time of request.
I think the commercial was
It
kind
went
of
back
the.
and forth, and the
Yeah.
location of it was just kind of out there a little bit to expect any major commercial. But
And are they constructing the sidewalk on Enon Springs?
I don't believe they have, I think there's a sidewalk shown on Enon Springs.
I'm sorry, we're not requiring a sidewalk on Enon Springs?
I think that was part of the discussion, is that we would, when Enon Springs gets improved to full width, we would look at sidewalks at that time.
there's another 2 lanes of right-of-way on Eden Springs, correct?
Right.
So
Well,
at some
another-
point when they
yeah.
widen it, would the city then put those in upon that widening?
Yes.
Any sidewalk at this point would pretty much just be out the woods, out the trees.
Or the grass.
Well, it makes sense to do it one time when it's completed versus what Steve's talking about, and on top of tearing it out and redoing it. Other questions or comments?
Just for Charles, what's the status on the second connection to the school? The second road?
Spring Hill Drive, scheduled to be resurfaced next week here in Fall Break.
Anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the staff comments.
A motion to approve with staff comments. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. That was Ken, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
The horse kid. This morning.
I got you now. I thought that was you when you made it. I just want to make sure. Further discussion? All those in favor of approving this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is approved. Next site plan is McDonald's, 216 Lee Victory Parkway, owner, developer, McDonald's.
Yeah, this is a new location within the Kroger's commercial subdivision on the corner of Bulldog Drive and Lee Victory Parkway. Access would be provided via an access drive into the Kroger development. The access to Bulldog Drive would be entry only with the opposite, closest to Bulldog Drive would be entry only with the opposite point for exit only. Queue lanes for the drive-through show double stacking, narrowing down to a single lane. They have shown about 15 vehicles would be accommodated with the stacking in these queue lanes. Some of these numbers have been slightly updated since packets went out here, not too big of a change, but the vehicular use area on the site has been up to just under 3/4 of an acre at 0.74. That does require 3,225 square feet of open space landscaping. They are showing for 5,365 square feet. Total parking, 39 spaces is required, and they are showing for 47, which also requires 2 handicap stalls, which are being shown. The landscape plan shows trees and shrubs planted throughout the site and within landscape islands. Streetscaping is provided along Bulldog Drive and on Lee Victory Parkway. Since we received revised plans, landscaping was one of those items that need to be addressed and has been updated. So street trees are now being shown on Lee Victory Parkway. The landscape plan will have to be revised to meet design review. However, there are the tree species that we have issues that don't meet our design review requirements. We have a list of species in there, so just need to change up the species that are being shown, and as well as the caliper size of those trees as well. So some pretty minor modifications on that are still needed. Design review, the architectural elevations show these were also updated since packets went out. The elevations do show the building to be finished with a variety of materials, including brick, stone, glass glazing ephes, and wood look battens and ACM panels. All 4 elevations do meet the 75% primary material requirement. When packets went out, the applicant was exceeding our requirement of no more than 10% of the building to be finished in accent materials, which in this case would be metal. They have down that below 10% now, so that that last sentence with the design review not being met can be removed as it has been addressed sufficiently. So as it stands, all things considered, it does meet design review today. Standard comments 1 through 6 all remain. Staff comment 1 is more of a informational comment. The final plat for the Kroger development has not been recorded yet, so we are holding up the other developments that you have seen within this development until that final plat does get recorded, and this is in that list as well. Comment number 2, the no road improvements must be done before the work can begin on the site. Comment number 3, there's a 15-foot utility easement shown along Bulldog Drive on this lot in the final plat. It does not appear any public utilities are shown in that easement on the construction plan, so town staff does not know why this easement is needed. The applicant has noted that they are not a responsible party as part of the final plat, so they really have no say in that as well. Comment number 4 is a comment we asked them to show town of Smyrna utility, or town of Smyrna details where applicable. That comment will remain to ensure that whatever utilities, either public works or utilities need to see, is done accordingly. So comment number 4 will remain. Number 5 is regarding the architectural elevations. They have addressed that. Now the metal is now down below the 10% threshold, so staff is satisfied with that comment. Number 6, the landscaping. As mentioned earlier, we had a lack of street trees and streetscaping along Lee Victory Parkway, which is now being shown, but they do need to swap out those species and the caliper sizes accordingly. So comment number 6 will remain. Number 7, there was a discrepancy in the site data table numbers that are shown on the site plan versus what was shown in the data tables. Has been addressed, can be removed. And then number 8 is what we just asked them to show what the anticipated queuing max would be in their drive-through facility, which would be about 15 vehicles. So that comment can be removed as well. Comments 5, 7, and 8 all removed. The rest will remain, and staff would recommend approval with those remaining comments.
Mitch, I like the fact that the ingress and egress is off Bulldog.
It's not on Bulldog.
Correct.
Yeah, it's off of Bulldog,
Yeah.
yeah. So with that, is staff comfortable that we have enough in the way of stacking on the lot to keep it, I guess, where we're not wrapped around the easement onto Bulldog?
That was something we just looked at today. 15 vehicles is,
I mean, there's 15, and that's just in the stacking
Yeah.
area. There's some additional property on the property itself. There's room there for additional beyond that, so.
So it could actually loop there.
It would be more, so I don't think there'd be an issue there with
Okay.
that, with that, and with the parking lot being, even if they get out of this property, they're in the parking lot of Kroger, they're not in Bulldog, so.
So we're good that,
think
that
we're in good
you're
shape.
satisfied that Bulldog will remain
Right.
available
Right,
for traffic movement?
right.
Okay.
How many seats does this restaurant have?
I don't know the number of seats. Their interior design is not required at this stage, more so the exterior, so.
But
not
it's
sure
not
the-
the drive-through focus McDonald's that we have on Sam Ridley.
I'm sure they're focused on that through, but as
No,
far
no,
as.
but I mean, the
Yeah.
one on Sam Ridley's almost
It's a
exclusive.
smaller.
They have 10 seats inside.
I mean, this one's over 3,000 square
Yeah,
feet,
it's-
so.
Yeah,
it's-
it's like
almost 4,000
almost 4,000 square
Yeah.
feet.
so
Given the
it's-
parking, it looks like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are more seats, probably are more seats here than the other one, yeah.
The one on Sam Ridley, they're also constrained with the parcel as well, trying to get
Yeah, they had-
it. So
we
the
had to
size
work
really
with
is
them
not
on
much.
that, I remember that.
Hey,
They had
I,
some limitations.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Item number 2, the road improvements. I'm assuming you mean Bulldog Drive, right? Okay.
This isn't really a question for staff. I'm just curious about the entrance for the drive-through is next to the entrance for the parking lot. Is there some way to delineate that? I mean, what if you get stuck in the wrong line and I don't know, that's for McDonald's, I guess. They can figure that out, you know.
They usually put a sign up there.
Yeah.
I mean,
People really pay attention though, don't they, Ken?
My guess is they're gonna get quite a bit of foot traffic from the high school, so.
Yeah, I expect so.
I was gonna be, my question, is the high school open campus for lunchtime with the kids?
They will be.
Whether they are or not.
It was when I was a senior, but before that it was not, so I don't know what it is now.
You know, they started Monopoly back.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't see it on these drawings, but is there pedestrian safety lanes for kids coming across Bulldog?
I mean,
Is
there's,
that
si-
part of
there's.
the Kroger build?
Yeah, there's sidewalks along Bulldog will be built as part of this development, certainly. And there's also as part with Kroger, we did require, it's a little further north of, that's north, I guess, yeah, north along, away from this property, we'll have a raised median across Bulldog Drive, yes.
I always thought you couldn't have a McDonald's near another McDonald's, but this isn't too far from the one down by Nissan.
This will be number 5
This is
in
5.
city limits.
4 or 5?
It's why franchising is
They should just,
gotten softer.
next to the McDonald's, just say Smyrna High.
Yeah.
It's gonna be their biggest client base.
Not the only thing they could have done different is put this one in the high school.
Winner.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve with staff comments.
A motion to approve with staff comments. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is approved. Next, we have Rock Springs Townhomes and Single Family Homes, 608 Rock Springs Road, owner developer Ayub Ishak.
This is a site plan for Rock Springs Townhomes and single-family development. This does consist of 23 total units, 13 townhomes, and 10 single-family homes. This property was rezoned to PRD earlier this year in January. The site is proposed to be serviced by a single private street with access off of Rock Springs Road. The amenities as part of this development would include a pavilion, dog park, and playground. Vehicular use area on the site, just over a half acre, and that does require 2,540 square feet of landscaping. They're showing for 4,250. Park required of 99 spaces, and they're showing for 104, and they're also showing one handicap parking space over by the amenity areas. The landscape plan shows a type C landscape buffer along the western property line abutting the existing single-family residences. Per the approved PRD, the existing vegetation shall be preserved to create this type C buffer. Streetscaping is shown along Rock Springs Road as well. Additional vegetation is shown in the front yards of the residences and around the community parking areas. Architectural elevations show both the single-family dwellings and townhomes to have a mixture of brick and fiber cement board siding. The entirety of the first floor is shown to be finished with brick, while the second level is to be finished with fiber cement board. The proposed elevations are consistent with the approved PRD. Standard comments 1 through 7 will all remain. Staff comments 1, 2, and 3 are all informational. Comment 1, that no burn permits will be allowed within this area. 2, the final plat must be recorded prior to issuance of any building permits. And 3, the electric services for the townhomes must be mounted on a monument off of buildings. Comment number 4, we asked them to connect the proposed water line to the existing 8-inch off of the Spring Branch subdivision to the north of this site, and they have done that, so comment 4 can be removed. Comment 5, we asked them to grade units 1 through 10 towards the street to be sure it drains towards the detention pond, which is being shown, to be removed. And then comment number 6, we asked them that there was grading work shown in the buffer strip along the western property line. Per this approved PRD, that area should remain in order to preserve the existing vegetation that is along that area to retain the buffer. Most of the grading work has been removed outside of that area. There are some lines in the back part on the grading plan in the north side of the development nearby where the amenities are at that do show it trickling into the buffer area. So we want to make sure that all grading work is kept outside of that buffer area to make sure it is maintained for those existing single-family homes that are out there. So comments 4 and 5 can be removed. 1, 2, 3, and 6 will all remain, but with that, staff does recommend approval.
This is consistent with the preliminary?
With the PRD,
I'm sorry,
yes.
PRD.
Yes.
Is this the old PRD or the most recent adopted PRD? The reason I asked is they're calling out for 15-foot buffer instead of the 20s.
Oh, 15 was what was required as part of this.
When this was originally.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve with staff comments.
I have a motion to approve with staff comments. Do I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is approved. We are now on to Rutherford County Baptist Church, 2000 Elmville Road. Owner, developer, Rutherford County Baptist Church.
This site plan was previously approved back in 2021. The Rutherford County Baptist Church is planning to relocate their facility from the current location on Seminary Road. This proposed relocation is to property with frontage on Almanville Road across from 1 Mile Lane. Access to the site has a primary access off of Almanville Road with an access easement which is shared among 4 other commercial tracts of land. At this time, the church is only constructing the main building and a playground with an additional future detached building expansion planned at a later date. There's also a multi-purpose field and baseball, softball field planned for the future. Vehicular use area on the site has been tweaked minorly since packets went out. We're up to 1.98 acres of vehicular use area, and that does require 8,630 square feet of landscaping. They are showing for 9,000 square feet. Parking required is 133 spaces, and they are showing for 178, and that does require 6 handicap parking stalls, which they are showing for 10. So meeting all requirements there. The landscape plan shows a variety of canopy trees throughout the site in landscape islands and along Almanville Road. Shrubs are proposed to be planted around the base of the building and in landscape islands. Architectural elevations show primary materials including brick, stone, glass, and secondary material of stucco. The architectural elevations, when packets went out, did not meet design review in quite a bit of number of ways. They have revised those since then, so a couple of these, the second part of this design review has been updated accordingly. The south elevation facing Almanville Road is shown at 19% stucco and 75% primary materials, which are the brick, stone, glass glazing. East and west elevations show 79% primary materials with the remainder as stucco and accent materials. The north elevation, which does face the parking lot area, shows 75% primary materials. As shown, these revised elevations now do meet design review. Standard comments 1 through 7 will all remain at this time. Staff comment 1, we asked them to submit sewer construction plans to our utilities department. Second comment, more informational, additional access permit to Almanville Road will be subject to approval by TDOT. 3, the signal heads will be required to be added to the mast arms for the access to the north side of Almanville Road. Number 4, we asked them to provide dumpster enclosure elevation, labeling the materials to be used. This comment will remain. They do show a couple different items with this. The elevations show CMU block, but there are plans that show it detailed as brick, so we just need to provide consistency. We will require brick, not CMU block for those, for the dumpster enclosure. Number 5 is regarding the architectural elevations not meeting design review. They now do, so comment number 5 can be removed. Number 6, there was a discrepancy in square footage shown, so that has been addressed and can be removed as well. And then comment number 7, the design review previously did not meet design review, but it now does, so number 7 can be removed as well. Comments number 8 and 9 are CUD, as this does lie within CUD's service area. There was an additional comment I wanted to add here. There is some additional landscape that is shown on top of some CUD water lines, so I want to make sure that those landscaping and CUD lines don't conflict with one another, so that was just an additional staff comment to add. Comments 5, 6, and 7 can all be removed with the rest to remain. And with that, we previously had a recommendation to defer or deny the item due to the numerous items not meeting design review, but now with those items meeting design review, staff would recommend approval with those remaining comments.
Thank you for working with us to meet design review. You don't know how difficult it is when you're a believer and you have a church here, they don't meet design review. And I was seeing all sorts of fire and brimstone.
Pray all the way home.
Yeah. I did not want to do that vote.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate you working with staff and working with the town and being a part of the town that, you know, it shows that you care. I mean, I know that you care, but just, there's a care for Smyrna too, so I appreciate you doing that.
You know, back in August, Mayor and I both had the privilege of going out to celebrate this with the church, and I can tell you your congregation really was very, very welcoming and excited, and we're excited for you. So glad to see it coming. You know, I made a comment a while ago, I think, about growth, and the church is part of the reason you get to grow. When there's more people living in a town, there's more people coming to church. So glad to have you all there.
Any other questions or comments?
Was there also discussion of the school at some point on this site?
I know there was discussion, the church is potentially having that. I can't speak for them though. I think that's been in discussion at some point in the past, yes. I don't know if that's still something they're looking at or not.
So for the purposes of tonight, though,
Tonight, this is just for the church.
we're just looking at the
Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
I would, if there's no other questions, I'll make the motion to approve with all the staff comments.
I have a motion to approve with staff comments. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is approved. I think we are. We are now on to the bond review report.
Yes, and I apologize on the front end because it's a long one tonight, so we'll go through as quickly as we can though. First item, the Derby Run Phase 2A. Did talk to the developer on that one. They're looking to pave in the spring, so would recommend a 6-month extension on that one. Walnut Ridge Section 1, this is the end of their maintenance period. There's still quite a bit of work still to be done though, not major things, but still several things that need to get cleaned up on that, so I doubt they're gonna get that done. So I would recommend a 6-month extension on that one, to give them time. They are working on some things, but give them time to get that done. Gwynn Farms 2A, this is one we've had about 3.5 years now. They are about 90% or so built out. I would not recommend anything more than 6 months on that one. Get that one, they need to go ahead and start working on, there's several Gwynn Farms phases on in this report. They need to get some work done. Bankside Section 5, Phase 2, this is kind of a weird one. This is one we had a bond for many years for an secondary access to this neighborhood long-term. Everything's done with the development. There's not an issue there. They have several future phases in that development, and that this was put in place to ensure a secondary access got built. So they're not looking to do anything additional out there right now. So I would just recommend that this was just kind of a driveway secondary access for emergency purposes only. But would recommend a 1-year extension on that one at this time.
So just curious, how long do we hold it before we just use it to build the road?
Where this was proposed originally, we were kind of looking at it long-term. They have a future connection from this development over to Kedron Church Road. They're going to rebuild Kedron Church Road. And that's long-term the better access point. Where this would kind of come through the development, through kind of a detention area lot over to Morton Road. And so, long-term, the other access is better. For whatever reason, they're not doing any additional development out there right now in that development. And so, that's why it's not been built yet. But, I don't know why they're right next to Stewart Street Schools. You would think they would be moving forward, but they're not. So, how long do we want to wait? You know, I mean, it's been a while. Quite frankly, 15,000 is probably not enough anymore to do.
No, it's not.
So,
It's
We
not.
never like doing this, do
Yeah.
we? We'd rather them do it.
right.
Yeah, it's just, that's the point in the bond, is to ensure it gets done, right?
Right.
And eventually,
I think for them to do any more development, they're gonna have to do it. And that may be why they're not doing any more development right now, I don't know.
Might have figured that out.
Yeah, yeah. Because that's gonna be something they have to do to get a secondary, there's only one way in and out of that development, the entire development right now. So, there's some stub streets and different things, but there's nothing else there.
And I just, you know, I'd hate to be in a situation where we've sat on this for now 5 years and another 5 goes by and then there actually happens to be an emergency situation and we've been sitting on a bond for 10 years. You know, that's
Right.
what I'm worried, that's all.
Sure, I understand.
If this was just, you know, cleanup or sewer drains gotta be raised or something, it'd be one thing, but emergency access.
I'm gonna ask Mr. Peach a question, put him on the spot. In this situation where we have a bond for something that started in 2020, and here it is 2025, is there a mechanism, and I'm probably isn't, but I'm asking, is there a mechanism to increase the bond each year because costs increase each year?
Escalation?
We'll put that in
Escalation.
a development agreement now.
Yeah.
Let's just wait before that.
Yeah, so we've placed something in development agreements now, but these that came before that did not have that same language. So the language we have in there now allows us to take them to court to get the remaining portion that we had to spend over and above those bond costs. So we've seen that and dealt with that for these that are previous to that change. Doesn't mean we still wouldn't be able to battle it out, but it's spelled out perfectly in the new development agreement.
Okay, sorry, slow us down there.
No, I mean,
No,
that's good
that's fine. That's
discussion.
good
I mean,
discussion, yeah.
I guess it's got me thinking it would behoove us to get an estimated cost to finish that. And then maybe review this and what did you recommend?
I said a year, we could certainly shorten that
Why
time.
don't we
You
review
wanna
it
do
in 6?
6
Maybe-
months,
Maybe look at a cost.
okay.
Yeah, because we're going into the winter now.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to do it now.
6
anyway.
months would take us to the spring.
Right. For 6 months, all right. Next one's Wind Farms, Phase 3, Section 2. This is one we've only had a year. However, they are at 100% built out. I had initially recommended 6 months, or a year on that. I would have changed that to 6 months because I think they're built out. They need to move forward and finish things up. Next one is Derby Run Phase 2D. Again, the developer did talk with them. They're looking to pave in the spring, so I would recommend just a 6-month extension on that when it gets into the spring, so they get those paving done. Helmsley Place, this is a end of a maintenance period. They had 5 or 6 items, cleanup items there. They're getting bids on that. They're working towards getting this finished up. And so I would recommend release of that, if they can get everything done by the 9th of November. If not, extend it. But they are trying to get everything cleaned up on that one. Hunters Point, Section 3, Phase 2. This is one, it's a small little section there. There's only 8 lots. He's built 5 of them. Did talk to the developer. There's some of those last 2 lots are gonna require some pretty extensive grading and actually build some retaining wall. Those are some pretty steep lots. He would like to wait on final pavement until after he can get that heavy equipment work complete, which he anticipates being done next summer. So would recommend just a 6-month extension on that, get us closer to that summer time frame, and see, we'll follow up with him then on that one. Sewers Landing, this is lot 1 there, just of that development. A pretty large substantial bond because they recorded it with nothing done. They've got a lot of that work done now. Still need to put final topping and striping, and there's still some things to do. But as far as that first lot, I would recommend reduction on that one, and then reducing it, or extending it rather, 1 year. Gwynn Farms, Phase 1, Section 2, it's another one, no more than 6-month extension on that one. They are built out on that, so they need to finish that one up. Oak Meadows, Section 2, we've had this one a couple of years now. Developer did indicate they're working on those items, but would recommend a 6-month extension there. We've had it, they're almost built out. Hidden Hills, Section 5, Phase 1. This is the end of the maintenance period. They got one little item they need to clean up. Would recommend release if that gets completed, otherwise a 6-month extension. I think they're, hopefully we'll get that done soon. Byers subdivision, this is a small, just a couple of lots, where Mr. Byers basically created a couple of lots for each of his kids. But the area's gonna have to, he is having to extend public utilities to make that happen, so. Sewer, I did talk with him, since the packet went out, sewer is now complete, as far as installation is complete. It's in the inspection, the 30-day window they had to wait. And then, water is, and the fire hydrant should be being done this week, so he's getting close. Would recommend an extension on this one, just to make sure everything gets completed, but everything is getting close on that one. Gwynn Farms Phase 1, Section 1, again, it's another one of Gwynn Farms that no more than a 6-month extension on that one. Because they need to, that phase is completely built out. Woodmont Phase 8A, to talk to the developer there. They have, everything is, these repairs and paving and all is slated to be completed in mid-October. So if they're able to get that done and completed on time, we can reduce that to 25%, which is $123,600, and extend it 1 year as a maintenance bond if they're able to get that done. Otherwise, just a 6-month extension at the same amount. Spring Branch Townhomes, this one's only about 19% built. Had it a year. Would recommend a 1-year extension on that one. That's primarily just for some, because those are all private streets in there, so just utility issues on that one. The Oak subdivision, this one's a kind of a unique situation. The property owner there was a homeowner, and they had 3 lots, and they took those 3 lots, one of which had their house on it, and then turned those 3 lots into 5 lots, which would require extension of a cul-de-sac. They're not going to move forward with that, and they're looking to liquidate their assets there. Been talking with them. They have a real estate agent working with them, so I think that one's probably going to go away. But we still need to keep the bond just in case. Buckingham Place, Section 1, end of the maintenance period. If they get done, there's 3 little items to clean up there. Hopefully they're working on it. Hopefully they'll get done. Otherwise, a 3-month extension. Vintage Block 1, they have paved all the streets in that phase of the Vintage there. And just a few items to clean up there. Would recommend keeping this is already reduced it once. Would recommend extension of that at the same amount for the maintenance bond for 1 year. Woodcrest 4, talked to the developer. He is finally getting ready to pave in that section, which is good. So hopefully he's get that scheduled soon. Would recommend a 3-month extension on that one because that's when hopefully he will follow through and get done, but I want to be sure he does. So we'll give him a very long extension. Hunters Point's Annex Section 3 Phase 1 is about 3 little items there to clean up. He's hoping to get everything done there within the next month and a half, barring any weather issues. So if he's able to, we can release it. Otherwise, 6-month extension there. Gwynn subdivision, lots 1 and 2. This is not Gwynn Farms. This is across the street from there. Basically, it was one house, or there's an existing house, and created an additional lot. This is just to extend sewer to serve that second lot. Developer's not looking to, he's not looking to make that, do anything with that at this time. So it's really just to serve his lot. So I would recommend it's a 1-year extension there. Courtyards, Stewart's Creek Phase 1. We've only had this one a year. They're moving along pretty quickly with this phase. But would recommend a 1-year extension on that. They are looking to make those get those done soon, but would recommend a 1-year extension. And then the Patterson property, this is the private developer portion of this. This includes the Spring Hill Drive extension that Charles spoke about earlier that we're paving next week. But this is the private portion of this. Would recommend, they're about 41% built out there, so would recommend a 6-month extension on that one. We have had it about 3.5 years. Building seems to be moving a little slow up there, but would recommend a 6-month extension. That's all I've got.
Okay. You're sure?
I'm positive, finally.
We've heard the bond review report. Are there any questions?
So released.
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
An enthusiastic motion to approve with staff
Charles is just as enthusiastic second.
I think Charles and Mark are ready to go home. All right. We've got a motion and a second. Further discussion. All those in favor of approving the bond review report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Staff comments, any other business?
Don't have any other business. Do want to let the commission know, I think there's been some discussion, but just, the council did budget for an update to the comprehensive plan this year. We did put out an RFP. We did receive proposals. We're currently evaluating those. So we will be having soon, hopefully October, maybe November council meeting. I don't know when we'll get that finalized, but have a contract there to get a consultant underway to update the comprehensive plan. So I just wanted to, certainly the planning commission will be very involved in that process as we go through that. So I just wanted to let you know that. That's all I've got.
Anybody else? Anything for the
Just
commission?
one quick thing. Happy birthday, Mr. Gene Hardiman, this week, 97 years old.
All right.
Yep.
What an asset he has been to our community. So,
Yep, thank you. You know, definitely a challenging night. I know you guys, the planning staff and all the ancillary departments that work with you guys, thank you very much. I want you to know that I appreciate you, and I know that the commission appreciates you. You have us prepared each meeting, and I know how hard you guys work behind the scenes, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
And with that, we stand adjourned.
Thanks, sir.
another good job for you, Mr. Chairman.
You guys.